respected chairpersons and members of this august gathering. My case is a case which presented to us with a failed bike cruciate repair, and this presentation will highlight some of the broad principles which must be followed while doing a ligament reconstruction, especially in a multi-ligament scenario. So this patient was a 28-year-old female. She lives in USA, was doing a corporate job. She also used to play tennis. Her BMI was 20.8. There were no comorbidities. So she presented to us 2 years back, and the symptoms were pain and instability, which were there for the past 2 years. She had a twisting injury 2 years back. Her foot got stuck in a pothole, and she was diagnosed as an ACL and PCL tear in 2020, and she underwent a primary ACL and PCL repair in USA only. So this surgery of repair was done in the United States. It was done during the acute phase, less than 3 weeks, and it was a combined ACL and PCL repair. So when we examined her, her gait was normal. There was a varus deformity. The range of motion was 0 to 120 with some crepitus. The tests for ACL were positive, Latchman as well as anterior drawer. The posterior drawer test was also further positive. She was stable varus and valgus, so there was no collateral injury damage, and her neurovascular status was intact. The X-rays, you can see there was a gross varus there, and you can see the button for the PCL repair. We did a standing scanogram as well as the MRI, and the important findings were of radiological work. There was gross medial compartmental osteoarthritis. There was ACL tear. There was ACL tear. There was a PCL tear. Plus, there was a medial meniscus root tear as well. And there was a deviation of 11%. The posterior tibial slope we calculated was 12, and she had an intact PLC and MCL. So our diagnosis was a chronic ACL and a PCL tear, KD grade 2, a medial meniscus root tear, medial compartmental osteoarthritis leading to a primary varus deformity. So can I have the first question, audience poll, please? So what will be your plan for this patient? Root tear has to be repaired in any case. So these are the options. Do an ACL and a PCL reconstruction, ACL and a PCL plus uniplanar HTO, ACL and PCL plus a biplanar HTO, and PCL reconstruction plus a biplanar HTO. So option 3.
Third one.
So majority have want to do a biplanar HTO. Okay. So there is a definite in a varus knee, or where there is this was a primary knee. So there is a definite role of high tibial osteotomy in chronic injuries of the posterior cruciate and the posterolateral corner. We can correct the coronal alignment via BDL opening wedge osteotomy, and many of our patients we have seen that even after just opening wedge osteotomy, they do not even require a reconstruction of the ligaments. Again, in the sagittal plane, we all know that the increased slope increases the stresses on the ACL, however, it reduces the stress on the PCL. And the decreased slope will reduce the stress on ACL, however, it will increase the stress on the PCL. So in this case, since there was a ACL, chronic ACL as well as PCL, and the slope was 12 degrees, we took the decision not to alter the slope to favor a bit of PCL, which is of more importance. So our plan was to, correct the varus deformity, repair the meniscus, and reconstruct the cruciates. So these three, HTO, ACL, and PCL reconstruction plus root repair. So question 2 for the audience.
I think so, press once more.
Hmm?
Or the bug.
Can we have the ARS, please?
ये तो दीपक का गोयल का
Presentation.
So these are the options. Stage 1 is HTO plus root repair. Stage 2 ACL and PCL reconstruction. Stage 1 HTO plus root repair plus PCL, or stage 2 ACL, or do all together. So majority want to do a HTO. So as per the norms, that's the correct that you should have done in HTO before. But since this was a primary varus, not due to any collateral damage, and further the patient was young, active, and she had come from USA for a very brief time and wanted her all to be done together. So we did all together in this case. So we know the guidelines that if there is a malalignment, you should do a correction of the varus first and do a reconstructive procedure later on. But this, in our case, since it was a primary varus with intact collaterals, young healthy individuals, we took this exercise in one go. The risks are there is long duration of the surgery, there is risk of arthrofibrosis, infection, as well as tunnel convergence. So what we executed was an HTO, a medial meniscus root repair, and while doing arthroscopy, we also found that there was a lateral meniscus root repair, which was not there on the MRI. And we did a ACL as well as a PCL reconstruction, single bundle, and as well as, I'll show you the video now. So this was the patient. As you can see, there is gross medial osteoarthritis. There was a big defect on the femoral side as well as on the tibial side. Patient had a root tear, medial meniscus, and as well as this was the threads from the previous surgery. We had to do a bit of notchplasty to clear the notch. We cleared the earlier repair, ACL and PCL, and after clearing everything, we made the tunnels. We made the tunnels for the PCL. This is the femoral tunnel for the PCL. We do it outside in and just clean the tunnel of all the debris. And then we go back of the tibia, identify the posterior, the PCL ridge, and taking care not to damage further. In this case, the medial meniscus root was already damaged. So you pass a red roll the fiber tape, and then pass the PCL graft. So this was the PCL with fiber tape augmentation, and similarly we did the single bundle ACL. And this was the PCL as well as the ACL, and they were stable, good tension and good position, and then we did the root repair of the medial as well as the lateral meniscus. So this is the post-op CT scan which we did. So the post-op rehab in this case was quite slow in 0 to 6 weeks. Again, patient education is the key. There was non-weight bearing initially for 6 weeks with support. Passive range of motion was started in prone position within the first 2 weeks. Efforts were made to retain the VMO bulk, proximal hip and core exercises, and a good high protein diet all contribute to the recovery of this patient. In the second stage, this defect, though it was a kissing lesion, but patient was very particular that she wants something. So we had done a first stage ACI, we had taken a cartilage biopsy. So in the second stage, about 6 weeks later, patient deferred her plans to go back early, which she had earlier, and she said she'll get the ACI also done, and we did a ACI. Though on the femoral side, the defect was quite big, but still we attempted that. And the literature shows that if you have done a osteotomy, the results of cartilage repair are much better. Again, we have to do a third stage. Patient had a arthrolysis, and in this we could see that there was a good uptake of the ACI. And again, 4 months after the second surgery, since her range of motion was restricted, which was affecting her activities of daily living, we did an arthroscopic arthrolysis. And we observed that there was good uptake of ACI as well as of the good tension in the ACL and the PCL, and even the roots were there in good position. So this is the 1 year follow-up of the patient. When she came to us, she has good range of motion and she is able to, run on the treadmill and do some weight training activities. This is the 2 year follow-up. She patient came recently. The ACL and PCLs are in their position and the meniscus have also healed. There is patchy uptake of ACI, but patient is asymptomatic. Yeah. This is the 2 year patient has started playing tennis, not at a very competitive level, but this was her one of the main hobby and she is playing it. And so, coming to the discussion now. So, whether one should do early surgery or late surgery in multi-ligament, the studies show that results, clinical outcomes are much better if the surgery is done in the first 3 weeks when there is not much scarring and the sutures can hold, especially if there is a bony avulsion and if you want a higher return to sports, then early surgery in a multi-ligamentous injury. So these are some of the results of early versus late surgery, and as you can see, the results of early surgery are much better than late surgery. So what to do, whether repair and reconstruction, this is one of the studies in which patients were grouped in three groups. One group went the ACL and the PCL repair, another went ACL reconstruction versus PCL repair, and third went ACL as well as PCL reconstruction. And the results of reconstruction were much better than those of repair. Again, another study which shows that PCL repair, there was a high percentage of posterior sag and 0% return to play, whereas reconstruction has much better results. So PCL repairs do not do well. Again, this was a study in which there was a good results with the PCL, but again, these were all level 3-4 evidence, very small sample, and PCL repair in the setting of a multi-ligament injury was not tested, as was the case in our case. So again, again on the posterolateral corner also, the reconstruction is much more successful than the repairs. And if there is a varus deformity there, we have to correct the varus first before undertaking the PLC, which may not be required if after correcting. Again, in the medial corner injuries as well, the repairs fail and it is the reconstructions which have a high degree of success. So, plenty of evidence to show that single stage reconstruction has much better results with less failure than a multi-stage reconstruction. So, there are exceptions to the rule, and if the alignment is normal, one can do a single stage reconstruction. However, if there is malalignment associated with a collateral damage, these cases warrant a 2-stage procedure, corrective osteotomy first, because PLC graft does not tolerate varus alignment and it's bound to fail. So, and slope correction may eliminate the need for cruciate in low demand patients. So what is the take-home message from this presentation as well as the discussion and the review of literature? That early anatomical reconstruction followed by early range of motion leads to much better clinical outcomes. Reconstruction yields but much better outcomes than the repair. Cruciate repairs are not backed by strong evidence, especially in the setting of a multi-ligament scenario. And there is fast progression of OA in cruciate deficient knee with concomitant meniscal tear. So meniscal root tears, they must be addressed at the earliest. Otherwise they lead to rapid OA, and single stage reconstruction has less failure than multi-stage reconstruction. Of course, for that you need to have a good team to do all these surgeries in one stage, and then long and extensive rehab, which is tailored to the demands of the individual patient, is the key to success. Thank you very much for your kind attention.